Today, I'm excited to showcase Casely's brand new document agent. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and broke past any of the output limits that AI models typically were limited under. So you might have experienced this if you're using ChatGPT. It's just not going to be able to generate, say, a 15 or 20 page document for you, or like a 15 or 20 pages worth of content for you. The reason why is most of these LLM models, these large language models that underlie these types of tools, have a limited output limit. This is going to be referred to as a context limit. So there's context limit on the input side and then as well as on the output side. But over here at Casey, we've done some wonderful engineering to go ahead and break past these limits. So whereas before, if we were just using an LLM model directly, you'd probably be able to get a complaint pleading that's still well formatted, but maybe just about 3 to 5 pages. And so, realistically, working with employment attorneys specifically, we've typically seen complaint pleadings be up to like 15, 20 pages. And that's exactly what our document agent is now able to do. And also with this document agent, what I'm really excited for is we can go ahead and write now essentially any type of document. There is no restriction. So very soon coming to Casey, we'll be getting court forms into our product. And then later we'd love to create almost an ensemble. So we'd be able to generate an entire document set. So you can imagine after intake has been complete, we've gone ahead and we want to pursue litigation for this particular plaintiff. We'll be able to generate demand letter, a complaint pleading, fill out the 5, 6 core forms that we need to all in one go and have a nice ready to go zip file in our inbox. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the document agent. What we have to start with is a blank screen. This is if you are starting Casely brand new from scratch, this is the screen that you're going to go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and create a new matter for us. And now we've got a lot of options here, but let's just go ahead and set our name. This will be John Dorman. Great. So if I were to just go and select complaint plead, Casey is going to let us know like, hey, you need to add some files. Casey is going to want to have, and it's going to need to have some type of context on your particular matter for it to generate the document. We're not just generating randomly. We are referencing and citing evidence from the document set that has been uploaded. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We can go ahead and drag and drop files here. So for John Dorman, we have a personnel file. We have maybe like a draft intake before. You can see those text files will be skipped just because of file formatting. But regardless, here we are. Here are 3 files uploaded. So we have an employment agreement here from John Dorman's employer, LexCorp. We have an intake file. Again, looks like just a draft. And then we have another personnel file here. This is currently processing. So we'll go ahead and let that finish up. Great. So now this document is processed, we can now go ahead and either ask for a case summary. We can ask whatever we want for this particular matter. But like I said, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. I'm going to show you how you can generate a complaint pleading, fully fleshed out, multiple pages long, using our brand new document agent. So if I click on complaint pleading here, I'll go ahead and click on use this template. And what Casey is going to do, you see, we'll jump straight into a chat view. We're going to have a template for our complaint here with our laws here already in place. And now this is for an employment attorney, so that's why we have these particular laws here. Casey is going to give us some updates as to what it's doing. So it's analyzing our document request. It's going ahead and fetching what citations it needs to. And in a second here, we're going to get some confirmation that Casey will go ahead and begin the document generation. So we'll go ahead and let that wrap up. Awesome. So we see here now Casey is going ahead and letting us know what the plan of action is going to be. So before we jump into the right-hand side of the screen here, let's just focus on what's happening here. So Casey's recognizing that we want to generate a employment litigation complaint. Great. So we have a few steps here. It's going ahead and broken down our request into multiple sections. Each of those sections, we're going to spawn a separate agent to go ahead and complete that section for us. So we have the caption and case information, we have our introduction, we have parties, jurisdiction, we have facts, and then we have our cause of actions. So it's going ahead and listing out the disability discrimination here and whatever we need here as well, and then continuing that section. And then we're going to finish our complaint with a prayer for relief and signature block. Great. And like Casey is saying here, this is all being done asynchronously. So we don't have to remain on the screen. We can go ahead and close it. We can do what we need to. Casey will go ahead and send an email off notifying us that this document has been complete. So you can see all of the steps are listed here. So it's currently finished 3 steps. It's on the 4th one. This is the one that it is finishing out. And just in the background, we can see that preview start to come in. So again, we'll go ahead and let this finish here. Now, if you wanted to spin up multiple documents, we can just hop back over to our matter and generate a demand letter as well, for example. So let's go ahead and let this one wrap up here, and then we'll be back as soon as this is wrapped up. Great. So let's go ahead and see what Casey has generated. Now, remember, this is an AI still, so there are still some non-deterministic aspects of this type of software, but let's go ahead and see. So it's done a good job of setting up our firm information. We have our caption here. Again, it's going to list out 4 cause of actions. It's correctly identified the plaintiff and defendant. So let's just kind of scroll through and see how Casey has done as far as generating this document. Okay, so we have 8, 9, 10 cause of actions. We've got our prayer for relief, and then we have our signature block here. So we noticed that it generated a bit overzealously, right? We don't need necessarily 10 causes of action. So what we can do is go ahead and, like we said, this is a non-deterministic system. AI will work as it kind of understands and it sees fit. So it seems like during the generation, it kind of got overzealous with generating cause of actions. That's fine. We kind of acknowledge this coming into it, and that's why we placed everything into a Word document editor here in the browser. So for anything we don't like, let's say all of this section up to like the 5th to the 10th cause of action, let's just go ahead and remove these from our generation. Let's clean it up a little bit. Great. So now we're back to kind of what we initially wanted, which is like the 4 cause of actions. And now we're ready to go ahead and export this. So if you go and export to docx, we'll go ahead and see a nice dated file name here. Let's go and open that up. Great. And now we're here. We're in pleading paper. We have our paragraph numbers, and let's see how many pages. Yeah, we're up to 15 pages here. Again, before with, say, using a chat GPT or kind of a direct AI model, this would have been impossible. There's a lot of work that you need to do in order to get it to this point. But Casey is just going ahead and taking care of everything for you automatically. So that's great to see. And then we mentioned before, I can go ahead and leave Casey.ai. I don't need to be on the website. If I go ahead and jump over to my email, you're going to see here that we have our notification here. And if I click on this, it's just going to take me straight to that document also. So I don't have to necessarily be glued to the screen while it's kind of going through and generating the document for us. Awesome. So I kind of showcased the full life cycle here. Let's go ahead and jump to a demand letter. Let's do the same thing. Again, I haven't really prompted it much beyond clicking onto the template, but let's go ahead and use this template. And so same thing. This is a bit of a simpler document. You might have noticed very briefly, Casey just mentioned, found citations in 3 files here on the status update here. Just again, Casey's going ahead and trying to understand what is this case, what are the matters, and what's the matter information that I need to pull in so that I can generate my document. So again, we'll go ahead and let this do its work, and then Casey will go ahead and generate for us a fully fleshed out demand letter. So here you go. It's going to go ahead and start processing our demand letter. And these are the sections that it's thinking of generating. We'll go ahead and let that do its thing. So again, a similar process here. We're coming up to the last step of our document. And again, we'd expect the email to come in, so we don't have to necessarily, again, be glued to our screen, and then we'll be able to see it live on our screen in a few seconds here. Sweet. So again, Casey is done with our demand letter here. We can go ahead and take a look at what is generated for us. Again, it was faithful to our prompt. It's gone ahead and fleshed out the brunt of the document here. And then we have, of course, damages, settlement requests, and then a signature block here. And if we jump back over to our email, again, we're going to see now that we have our employment demand letter complaint finished here. Again, if we click into it, we'll jump back right into where we were. So now let's go ahead and export this document and see how it turns out. So if we click on export, again, we'll get a nice formatted demand letter. But again, this isn't necessarily what we're going to send to opposing party right away. We might want to add our letterhead. Now, instead of having to, copy and paste this from Word, we have some handy output format helpers here on Casey as well. So if I want pleading paper, I could do that. That's actually what we used for the complaint just a little bit ago. I can also click on custom letterhead. When I click on custom letterhead, I can go ahead and select that. Let's go ahead and now export it and see what we get. So now we are using my firm's letterhead. This is actually my co-founder's firm, Fahim Rahman. So this is using his letterhead. And so here you go. We have all of the demand letter now placed in his letterhead. And now we already have our signature here, so we can get rid of whatever we had. So again, what we're trying to do, our goal at Casey here is just to make these little paper cuts of using AI go away. So that way we're just focused on litigating and we're focused on getting these documents out and finished. Without so much hand holding. Let's go ahead and close out all these documents that we had. So that was really the brunt of the document agent. So what we can see now is we're able to generate far more complicated legal documents. Like we saw with the complaints, we're able to generate complaints that span multiple causes of action with very particular formatting like we have with our caption here. And if we just jump back over to John Dorman here, and we can do this across any number of legal documents that we have. One thing that I want to showcase maybe before we go is where some of those little helpers come in. For example, here inside of our settings, we have custom formatting. So if we want a particular format for our files and our documents, we can specify that here. Again, just one of those paper cuts that we can fix in the product to make our lives easier so we don't have to rename files when we upload them to our Dropbox or what have you. And then for our letterheads, so here you can see this is just the blank letterhead that we've gone ahead and uploaded. So this will be what we use in later generations. Again, just ways to kind of streamline the document generation process. And just to showcase this, once we have multiple matters, we'll be able to just kind of review at a glance what were the documents or the chat threads that we have for particular matters. And again, we can just shortcut something here where if I want to jump back into that complaint, I can quickly see what we were working with. So that was a rough high level of our brand new document agent. Like I said, the roadmap is continuing to be developed. Using document agent, we would like to see court forms in the product. And then what we're really working towards is document sets. So like I said, we can go from intake to finished initial document set in literally a matter of seconds just by using Casely and our new document agent. So hopefully that was useful. And if you're interested to learn more or to try out Casely out for yourself and your firm, feel free to go ahead and jump over to casely.ai where you'll be able to sign up for trial access. Now, just to mention, this is early access, so we are only allowing attorneys to go ahead and use the software. But if you're interested, again, feel free to visit casey.ai. Thanks. Till next time.